Now I know what you're thinking, okay, how can this dude in a 3X oversized small t-shirt with a receding hairline who wears a hat in the house actually give me any suitable advice? Well, I'll let you be the judge of that as we dive into this topic. Uncle C back in the office, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you the 5 secret keys of monk mode, so that way you can get an inside look at how millionaires actually live, what you have to do in order to further facilitate your wealth journey and absolutely 100% be the most attractive version of yourself possible. For those of you who watch this channel, I already know like a few things right off the bat. You're probably ambitious, you probably want to get ahead in life, and you probably want to succeed. And with that said, I've lived a very radical life over the years, and radical in a good way. These 5 things that I'm going to be teaching you on this whiteboard today have not only propelled my life forward, but have gotten me to the level of success that I've wanted to. Now, before we begin, real quick, Q4 started October 1. Okay, for Q4, this next 3 months, my brother and I are allowing 50 more enrollments into the Freedom Academy. That means if you're trying to build your online brand, if you're trying to actually become financially free, if you're trying to actually generate wealth and quit your 9-to-5 so that way you can succeed in life and live life on your own terms, you want to hop into that because enrollment spots will fill up. And I'm watching guys on a day-to-day basis make their first sale, actually start turning over cash and building a brand just like I did. And it's something absolutely amazing and a huge passion project that I've been working on. So I advise you to hop into that. But nevertheless, let's get into the 5 things today. This whiteboard is loaded, okay? If your brain can't focus for the next 5 to 15 minutes, that means that this type of presentation is all the more for you. Now, one thing that I completely spaced out on is I forgot to actually explain what monk mode is. Monk mode is when you take a period of your life, probably 6 months to a year, which is the duration that I'm going to be doing this for, and you literally live like a monk. Like, we're talking monk-like discipline. We're talking, removing distractions from the outside world. We're talking 100% focusing on your goals and actually getting really square and really clear on what it is that you want out of this life. And what this is doing is this is removing all of our distractions so we can keep and maintain 100% focus of what's actually important. It comes down to these 5 key areas. So the very first that we have to discuss in order to perform this so you can build the wealth and build the life that you want is you 100% need life simplicity. And see, here's why living simple is so important. If you actually want to make millions of dollars, you have to understand that you cannot accumulate a lot of stuff. Okay, the more stuff you have, the more maintenance it requires. If you go buy a Lambo or a sports car, now you have to worry about gas. Now you have to worry about maintenance. Now you have to worry about insurance. Now you have to worry about things breaking. All of the stuff people focus on, whether that be paying bills, whether that be actually going to the pet store and buying pet food, if you're doing all of this stuff that normal people do, you're living a complex life. Good luck actually making the type of money in life that you really do want. This was a huge one for me because the biggest thing that I've realized is most people are so distracted, including myself. And what you have to focus on, what I've had to focus on for over a decade now, is complete 100% distraction removal. So what we have to do is we have to look at all of the things that are probably pulling your time. And the things that are pulling your time is probably the things that you don't even notice because it feels good, right? It's pleasurable, it seduces you, it's easy. And what you're doing is you're actually hijacking your brain's dopamine. So what we do is we have to manage our dopamine on every level. And I'm gonna explain why we have to do this. The very first thing that I cut out of my life completely that allowed me to focus 100% on business and get to where I am today is going to be no social media. Now, you might be sitting here thinking, well, Casey, you're posting on social media. I'm gonna let you know a little secret. There's a big difference between creating on social media from a creator standpoint and consuming. Okay, when you consume, you're basically taking in other people's stuff and you're no longer focusing on what it is that you need to focus on. So I just got rid of all the apps on my phone, like literally all of them. I got rid of Snapchat, I got rid of any sort of app, I got rid of all of this stuff. I play no video games, right? There's no dirty websites. These things that 99% of guys get sucked into, this hijacks your brain's reward center. Let me let you in on a little secret right here. Business is a long game, okay? Like life is a long game. That means in business, you probably will put in work and you don't see the fruits of your labor for 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, and it's a compounding effect. If you don't actually manage your dopamine, you will no longer stick out what's needed to get ahead to where you want to be. So I'm telling you this because if you don't remove these things, you will have no willpower. You will have no motivation. You will have no drive. It's simply impossible. Now, when you remove this stuff, here's what happens. You learn to find purpose in your work. And I'm going to explain how you do this. Because you have no more dopamine from short-term quick hits and short-term thrills, you start to actually become obsessed with your work. You start to become obsessed with your goals. And here's the thing that I noticed for me. When I started to live like this, everything else in life became boring. Okay, think about this. Everything became boring. I'm telling you this 100% truthfully. I'm telling you this 100% wholeheartedly. I'm telling you this so you understand. If me, Casey Zander, has to sit down at a chair and play a video game, I am bored out of my mind. You have to force me to do it. If I have to sit there and I have to watch a movie, I am bored out of my mind. If I have to sit there and I have to do any of these things that 99% of guys do, like the fact that we have like grown men like literally sitting there taking selfies to women back and forth, that they're like, there's a reason why most guys can't get ahead in life. Where they put their time isn't correct. So in order to make it correct, you have to start to live simple. Remove the distractions out of your life. Live a life that you can easily maintain. Live a life that you can easily afford. There is no keeping up with the Joneses, okay? Build a $50 to $100 million company, work at that for 10 to 20 years, and here's what you're gonna notice is you have all of the fruits of your labor that you've ever wanted, and you have all of the life successes you've ever wanted, and that's the truth. The second thing, how do you go monk mode? Well, you have to remove vices. What are vices? Okay, vices is things that keep you stuck. Vices is things that are addictions. Vices is things that actually not only hold your dopamine hostage, but it makes you a weak-willed individual because you're reliant on substances. So 3 things that I do right off the bat. Okay, no drinking, like ever. Like just don't drink. There's been points in my life where I've been drinking or I've been partying a lot. It instantly made me more depressed. It instantly ruined my motivation. It instantly killed who I was inside. I could no longer create from a free-flowing perspective. That's the first thing. The second thing we have to do, we have to remove drugs. Okay, if you're smoking things you shouldn't be smoking, you're moving slower. I don't care if you want to tell me, oh, okay, you know, it's fine, Casey, because I still get my work done. I don't care. If you're operating at 70% and I'm operating at 100, in the long run, who's going to win? You can keep telling yourself it's okay to smoke all that stuff, but I'm going to let you in on a little secret. You know it makes you a weaker individual. The last is going to be a constant diet. When you eat constant, okay, your body feels good. When you don't overindulge in food, your body feels good. When you remove sugar, your body feels good. You do not want brain fog, and you don't want to have to constantly get out of the state where your diet's messed up, you're puffy, you're inflamed. Those things hold you hostage. Now, as you do this, as you remove these vices, as you cut out the dirty websites, as you probably get on NoFap, as you harness your energy, here's what happens. You start to actually understand sacrifice, and you understand why you're doing these things. And one of my favorite quotes that I live by every single day of my life is this: if you don't sacrifice for what's important becomes the sacrifice. For myself personally, I don't know if I'm wired this way. I don't know if all guys are wired this way and they just won't admit it. I have always been extremely driven. Like, I've always wanted extreme success for myself. And not only that, I get maximum fulfillment. Like, when I see you guys inside of the Freedom Academy, you make your first sale, truthfully, I get more satisfaction and like happiness watching others succeed. But nevertheless, the only reason I'm able to do that is because of getting to where I am today. So this quote right here, if you don't sacrifice for what's important becomes the sacrifice. I need this to sink in for a second, because this weekend, Saturday and Sunday both, I worked 8 to 10 hours per day each day. And I sat back and I asked myself, why? Like, why am I doing this? Right? I already have enough money. I already have enough friends. I already have enough things to do. There's other things I could be doing. Why am I doing this? And it's because it's important to me. It's important for me to reach my goals. And it doesn't even necessarily have to have a monetary standpoint to it. It just has to be something you're living for. And that purpose and that passion that I find within my work, it only comes because I am obsessed with my goals, because I live simple and I have removed distractions. I'm not saying you have to go monk mode your whole life, but you have to go at this for a strong period to get ahead. If you don't, it's extremely hard to ever see the fruits of your labor pay off. What's the third thing that we have to do, myself included, is going to be dating removal. Okay, who do I advise dating removal for? I advise dating removal for any guy who doesn't have life success, any guy who is stuck working some BS 9 to 5 that they hate, any guy who's not on their purpose or passion, And any guy who doesn't know what they're doing with their life, if you're still chasing tail, you're going to be in for a rude awakening when you start to realize that every single long-term relationship you get into, or every single time you get into one, there's constantly pullbacks and testing, and ultimately you get left for somebody else. There's a reason for this. You're not focused on the right things as a guy. So here's the thing. Hanging with lots of girls, when I did this in my life, I made the least amount of money. Had the most amount of fun partying, made the least amount of money. Was most stressed Monday through Friday because I wasn't where I needed to be financially in my early 20s. I'm going to say that again. Hanging with lots of girls, I made the least amount of money. Isn't that funny? Here's why. You only have so much mental bandwidth in life. This is the truth. You only have so many places you can actually put your energy, your attention, and your focus. I have never entered into a relationship with a woman, or I have never casually seen a woman where things were really easy and smooth, and probably there was intimacy mix involved, where it was easy to casually do that without feelings being hurt or without them wanting more time. That's probably the nicest way I can frame it, but we'll leave it at that. Never once in my life has it been simple like that. So I started to realize real quick, if you want to be successful in business, you have to not be actively pursuing a bunch of people to date. You just can't do that. And the reason being is because not only does it strip you from what you need to focus on, not only does it take your time, but you have to know what you will and you won't allow. So I'm not going to allow, when I'm in monk mode, a time where I'm building, where I'm hardworking, where I'm actually focused on goals. I'm not going to allow a bunch of people into my life. The more people that come into your life, what's going to happen is the more complex your life becomes. But here's what I will allow. Occasionally, right, I'll hang out with a girl or I'll go out on a date if it's organic. That means we met at a restaurant. That means we met at a social event. We met at XYZ place. It happened organically. It wasn't actively pursued through Instagram DMs. It wasn't on a dating app. It wasn't like I'm constantly trying to wheel and deal and chase tail. If it happens organic, I'll engage in it, because typically the relationship dynamic is a bit smoother. Back to the why we do these things, it comes down to bandwidth. Managing the time and the inputs and the outputs that you actually have. You don't have enough time in your life to let your life get super complex. The people with the most stuff, the people with the most junk drawers, the people with the most friends, the most people, the most complex relationships, those are the people who never get ahead in life. So if you want to live like the 99% cool, indulge in all these things, if you want to actually get ahead and be valuable and be strong in the world and actually build the type of lifestyle and business you want, you're going to have to do these things. There's no way around it. Like pure discipline. The fourth thing that I constantly will start to do is biohack my body in every way, shape, and form to not only get ahead physically, but to get ahead mentally. So what I'm going for is I'm going for a very lean and strong and powerful physique. Okay, right now I'm currently dieting. I'm in a caloric deficit. I'm losing fat, right? I'm losing inflammation. I'm losing puffiness. I'm losing water weight. What this does is this increases my brain cognition. I notice every single day when I wake up right now, I'm feeling better. And it's because I am not as inflamed. I'm not holding as much toxicity. Okay? If you have puffiness around your face, if you have added pounds to lose, that will fatigue your brain cognition. So most guys don't want to hear these things, because most guys just want the secret tactic to push a button and go make money. Most guys want the secret tactic to just push a button and get ahead. It doesn't work like that. So things that I'm doing is working out a few times a week, making sure that my lifts are strong, making sure that I'm eating a great diet. Okay, I'm also hitting the sauna 2 to 3 times a week to sweat out any toxins. I'm getting into the hot tub to relax after hard workouts, and I'm drinking about a gallon of water per day. If I can do these things right here, I'm gonna be firing on all cylinders. Like, well, most people are smoking pot, they're drinking, they're doing stupid shit. I'm firing at 100% cylinders. It's impossible for me not to get ahead. That's how I live. The fifth thing that I do, okay, this is the biggest. Like, this is the biggest right here, because this I have only discovered recently. I'm excited to tell you this. The fifth thing is going to be CNS management. What does CNS stand for? It stands for Central Nervous System. Okay, the reason why this was so crucial for me is because I've been like a bodybuilder in the gym for like the past 8, 9, 10 years. And here's what happened. As I was working out 5, 6, 7 days a week for so many years in a row, I started to realize something. I was overtaxed. I was overtaxed as in I was overexercised. My lifts weren't going up anymore. I was fatigued. Okay, at nighttime, I would be in a chronic state of anxiety, right? I would get depressed from time to time. And I didn't understand why this was, because a lot of parts of my life were correct. Like, I had everything I ever wanted, and I'm like, what is going on here? On top of that, I started to notice a dip in sex drive. My sleep was losing quality, and I had brain fog day to day. And the reason being is because I was just overtaxed. Okay, when your central nervous system is fatigued, when you have adrenal fatigue, you're going to notice that your head constantly just feels like there's pressure. Like every single day when I would wake up from the neck up, my head would just be in a pressurized state. And that's not very good. Okay, so what I did was I cut back my workouts to 3 days a week right now. Okay, and what I do is I focused on key heavy compound lifts that actually that push my strength to new levels. I've already noticed an increase in strength, an increase in muscle building, but I'm working out less. And the reason being is because now I have added central nervous system recovery. For a lot of you gym junkies out there like I am, this is going to, in the long run, play a very hard effect on not only your hormonal function, but just how fatigued you are. And what you have to know is if you're fatigued day to day, that's going to affect your business, that's going to affect your money-making capability, and that's going to affect who you are. So these are the 5 things that I do when I enter into monk mode. Right now, I am entering into monk mode for probably the next 6 months to a year because there's huge things that I have on my calendar to accomplish. And I know that if I do these things and I stay with it and I stay motivated and I stay disciplined, the reason why is because I'm willing to live a different life to get the fruits of my labor, to get the payoff in a way that most people never will, so I can live a life that most people will never have. And if you want results like that, you're going to have to do these things too. So 2 things I want to run by you real quick. Number 1, I already told you about the Freedom Academy and the amount of enrollments my brother and I are having. The second thing, I created a business YouTube channel. Now, there's not a lot of videos, there's not a lot of subscribers, but behind the scenes, I do teach inner frameworks to what I do in business. If you have an existing business, I would recommend checking it out. There's tons of content on that Xander Consulting page. Hit the like button, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.